Hello everyone. In this session we will solve one more problem on the Kani's method. So here today I have taken a very simple problem. The speciality of this problem is in this beam we have a portion of the beam is extended beyond the support, that is it is a overhanging beam. Okay. So by solving this problem, we will came to know how we can deal with the overhanging portions in the structures, and also how we can deal with the problems where we have only two spans. Okay, so the span CD is overhanging, so we have AB and BC as the only two spans which we need to analyze, right? Okay, so here to analyze this beam, I will impose the Kani's method. The ultimate aim in this problem is to draw, so we have to analyze this beam, analyze the beam using Kani's method, and we need to draw SFD and BMD. We need to draw the shear force and bending moment diagram. Those are the final outcome of the problem, right? So here what I will do, I will impose the Kani's method. So as usual we all know what is the Kani's method and how to impose the Kani's method to analyze the beam. So we will impose the Kani's method step by step. Okay, first we will calculate the fixed end moments, then we will calculate the rotation factors, then we will prepare the Kani's table by calculating the rotation contributions. From the rotation contributions we will go for the estimation of final end moments, right? Okay, so let me start with the step number 1. The step number 1 in Kani's method is, it is as usual fixed end moments. So I think in all the 3 modules which we have come across, the step number 1 is common, that is estimating the fixed end moments. I hope at this point you are very well aware of how exactly we need to calculate the fixed end moments, right? So now see, for the first span, that is for span AB, we have a UDL of magnitude 5 kilonewton. So the span here is 4 meter. So for this span we are going to calculate the fixed end moments, that is MFAB is equals to minus WL square by 12. So here the W, the load on the span is 5 kilonewton. So it is 5 into the span is 4 meter, so it is 4 square divided by 12, which gives you minus 6.67 kilonewton meter as the fixed end moment. Now similarly, let us work out one more fixed end moment for the same span, that is MFBA. So here MFBA is equals to, as the load is again UDL, so it is plus WL square by 12, only there is a change in the sign. So it is plus 5 into 4 square by 12, which gives you plus 6.67 kilonewton meter. So these are the 2 fixed end moments for this span AB, right? Now similarly we will work out the fixed end moments for this span BC, that is MFBA and MFBC. So here MFBA, it is again as the load on the span BC, it is UDL, so we are going to use the same formula. For span BC the length is, the span is 3 meter and the I value for this span, it is 1.5 I. So it is minus WL square by 12. So it is minus 5 into 3 square divided by 12. This gives you a value of minus 3.75 kilonewton meter as the fixed end moment at B, that is MFBC. MFBC, this is MFBC. Next one is MFCB. MFCB is plus WL square by 12. So it is plus 5 into 3 square divided by 12, which gives you plus 3.75 kilonewton meter. So these are the fixed end moments for span AB and span BC. Now here you can see there are two things. One is a portion of the beam is overhanging, right? So for that we have to calculate the final end moments, and one of the end support, that is the support C, which is an end support, and it is simple in the nature. So we all know that whenever we are dealing with end supports other than fixed, that is either it may be hinge, it may be a roller, or it may be a simple support, we need to modify the fixed end moments for that particular span. See here, for the given problem, this C, it is a simple in the nature. It means for the BC span, we need to modify the fixed end moments. That is, we need to modify MFBC and MFCB. Right? See. Now, end moment here, end moment MCD. Because of this cantilever portion and this concentrated load, there is an development of final end moment. This is MCD. So which we need to calculate. MCD is equals to, it is minus. So with respect to this C point, this D is on the right side, so it is creating a clockwise moment. So right side clockwise is negative. It is 2.5 into 2, so it is minus 5 kilonewton meter. So this is minus 5 kilonewton meter is the end moment or the final end moment, right? Now, when the MCD is minus 5 kilonewton, to satisfy the equilibrium condition, what should be the magnitude of MCB? This moment, MCB. I hope you know. So, as per the equilibrium conditions, whenever we are satisfying any joint, so the algebraic sum of moments at any joint must be equals to 0. It means if I add these two moments, then the total sum should be 0. I know this, MCD is minus 5. So MCB must be plus 5, then only it satisfies the equilibrium condition. So MCB, therefore MCB has to be plus 5 kilonewton meter. MCB must be plus 5 kilonewton meter. But how much is the fixed end moment here? That is MFCB. So as per our calculation, MFCB is plus 3.75. It is plus 3.75 kilonewton meter. Now, how much I need to add? How much moment I need to add to this so that the final end moment should be 1.5. Sorry, final end moment should be 5. So this is kilonewton meter. Now here, therefore, MCB, what I need to do? MFCB, that is 3.75 plus something I need to add here so that it should become the 5. So here how much I need to add? Here I need to add 1.25 kilonewton meter as an additional moment. So MCB will becomes 5 kilonewton meter, right? So what I am doing is, to balance the joint C, I am adding this much additional moment on the span BC. So in the moment distribution method, we have learned whenever we are adding some additional moments, 50% of that moment has to be carried to the other end of the same span. Means here I am adding some moment here, that is I am adding plus 1.25 kilonewton meter moment here. 50% of that has to be transferred here. That is, therefore, the fixed end moment MFBC, it is as per our previous calculation, it is minus 3.75 plus we are adding something here, that is half of 1.25. So on this fixed end moments, we are adding some half of this additional moment. So that gives you MFBC as minus 3.13 kilonewton meter. Now you can see here we have the end moments at these two locations, that is MCB and MCD, and here we have the modified fixed end moments which we need to use for the further calculations. Okay. So this is how we need to do the changes, or you need to incorporate the changes in the Kani's method whenever we are dealing with an overhanging with one of the end support as simple hinge or roller. Right. Okay. So this is about the step number 1. Now step number 2, it is the relative stiffness and the rotation factors. Okay, so here we are going to calculate the relative stiffness K and the rotation factors U. So based on this, we are going to calculate the rotation contributions which are required in the estimation of the final end moments. We all know that to calculate the relative stiffness and the rotation factors, we need to prepare a table. So let us prepare a table here. So in the table, first we are going to note down the joints, then we are going to note down the members at those joints, then the relative stiffness, that is the value of K we have to estimate, then the summation, the total K, then the distribution factors, then the rotation factor, that is U is equals to minus half of distribution factor. So this we need to do. Now here you can see the support A, which is fixed in the nature, it is an end support. Okay, so which we are not going to consider in the calculations. Similarly, the support C, it is also end support, though the portion is extended beyond the support, but that is an end support. Here in this particular problem, the B joint or the B support is the only intermediate support. So in the Kani's method, we are going to deal only with the intermediate supports. So in the calculation of the relative stiffness also, we will consider only the intermediate support, that is here we have to consider only the joint B. So we have only one joint B. For this B joint we have two members BA and BC. For BA joint B is near end and A is far end. So whenever we are calculating the relative stiffness K, we need to observe what is the far end condition. So here with respect to BA member, B is near end and A is far end. So far end is fixed in the nature. So whenever we have the fixed support, so we use K is equals to I by L. So here the I value is I, there is no change in the value, but L is 4 meter, which gives you 0.25 I. 0.25 I as the relative stiffness. And similarly for span BC, B is near end and C is far end. So C is simple in the nature. So for simple far end support, we use 3 by 4 I by L. That is 70% of this. 75% of the fixed end moment. So fixed support condition. So here 3 by 4 into I, here I value is 1.5 I, 1.5 I divided by L is 3 meter, okay. So this gives you a value of 0.375 I. For BA it is 0.25 and for BC it is 0.375 I is the relative stiffness. The total relative stiffness is 0.625 I is the total relative stiffness at joint B. Using these values we can calculate the distribution factors, or else directly you can calculate the rotation factors also. So here if I work out the distribution factor, 0.25 divided by 0.625 gives you 0.4, 0.375 divided by 0.625 gives you 0.6. Then the rotation factor can be estimated, U is equals to minus half of the distribution factor. So this is minus 0.2 minus 0.3. So these are the rotation factor values which we are going to use in the next step. Okay, right. So let me erase this. So whenever we are dealing with the two span beams in the Kani's method, the step number 3, it is very easy. Step 3, Kani's table. Okay. So I hope you know how to write the Kani's table. So here we are just replacing the joints by boxes. Okay. So this box represents the joint B, and we have the end C, end support. So this is support A, this is support B, this is support C, and this is overhanging portion D. So here we need to write one more box. Okay. So join these diagonals. This is how Kani has given the table. So now here in this table we need to note down some of the features, like how much is the fixed end moments. The fixed end moment at A, that is MFAB, it is minus 6.67, and here it is plus 6.67. Whereas for BC and CB we have modified. So for BC the fixed end moment is minus 3.13, whereas at C point we have the end moment. So end moment as, here it is plus 5, here it is minus 5, right. So this is how we need to prepare the Kani's table for overhanging. At D nothing, it is 0. Okay. Now we need to write the rotation factor values. The rotation factors here, it is minus 0.2, minus 0.3. These are the rotation factor values. And inside the box, this is small box, we need to write the algebraic sum of fixed end moments. This is 6.67 minus 3.13. So if you add those two with signs, you will get the value which we need to write inside the bracket, that is algebraic sum of fixed end moments. That is 3.54. If you add these two, you will get 3.54, right? So once we do, the next duty is we need to calculate the rotation contributions, that is m dash AB, m dash BA, m dash BC, m dash CB. But as per the Kani's method, so we are not calculating the rotation contributions for the end supports. It means straight away m dash AB and m dash CB, they are 0. So here we need to calculate only m dash BA and m dash BC, that is for the joint B. So as per our previous understanding, the rotation contributions m dash is equals to, it is u is nothing but relative rotation factor into algebraic sum of fixed end moments plus algebraic sum of far end rotation contributions, far end rotation contributions. So this is the formula to calculate the rotation contributions. Now let me start with this value, that is m dash AB. So m dash AB is equals to rotation factor u. Rotation factor is minus 0.2 into the bracket algebraic sum of fixed end moment. So algebraic sum of fixed end moment is 3.54 plus the rotation contribution, far end rotation contributions for the B joint, which are the far end rotation contributions. So these are the far end rotation contributions, that is m dash AB and m dash CB. So they are 0. So let me consider them as 0 in the calculations. 0 plus 0. This gives you a value of minus 0.71 kilonewton meter, which I am going to write here, minus 0.71. Similarly, if I calculate the rotation contribution at this location, that is m dash BC, m dash BC is equals to rotation factor. Rotation factor is minus 0.3 into the algebraic sum of fixed end moments, 3.54 plus the far end rotation contributions. The far end rotation contributions are m dash AB and m dash CB, both are 0. 0 plus 0, which gives you a value of minus 1.06 kilonewton meter. This is minus 1.06. Now you can see there is no change in the far end rotation contributions here. Even if I go for the second cycle, in the second cycle also the values remain same. Rotation factor will remain same as it is, fixed end moment will remain as it is. What the thing has to be changed, it has to be the far end conditions. As we have only one intermediate support, the far end rotation contributions will remain 0 and 0. So even if you go for any number of cycles, you will get the same values. So we have to finalize these as the rotation contributions. So these are the final rotation contributions. So using these final rotation contributions, we have to work out the end moments. That is step number 4. Step number 4, final end moments. Okay. So MAB is equals to what is the formula? Formula to estimate the final end moments as per Kani's method is MFAB plus 2 times of the rotation contribution at near end plus 1 times of the rotation contribution at the far end. For BA, M dash BA is the near end and M dash AB is near end and M dash BA is the far end. So how much is the fixed end moment? So fixed end moment is minus 6.67 plus how much is the near end rotation contribution? It is 0 plus how much is the far end rotation contribution? It is minus 0.71, which gives you minus 7.38 kilonewton meter as the final end moment at MAB. Similarly, if I calculate MBA, it is MFBA plus 2 times of M dash BA plus 1 time of M dash AB. So MFBA is plus 6.67 plus 2 times of M dash BA. M dash BA is minus 0.71 plus M dash AB, it is 0, which gives you plus 5.25 kilonewton meter as the end moment. And similarly, if I do it for the MBC, it is MFBC plus 2 times of M dash BC plus 1 times of M dash CB. So the fixed end moment at C, it is minus 3.13 plus 2 times of minus 1.06 plus 0, that gives you minus 5.25 kilonewton meter, right? And the next thing, that is, these are the end moments which we have already estimated, that is MCB is equals to plus 5 kilonewton meter, MCD is equals to minus 5 kilonewton meter, and lastly MDC, that is at the free end the moment is 0. So this is how we need to calculate the final end moments as per the Kani's method. The next thing is we need to use these final end moments to calculate the support reactions as well as the maximum bending moment in the span. Before that, let me represent these in the main diagram. So here the MAB, as per our calculation, it is minus 7.38, minus indicates anticlockwise moment. So it is 7.38 kilonewton meter, and at B we have plus 5.25 kilonewton, plus indicates it is clockwise, and at BC we have minus 5.25 kilonewton, minus indicates anticlockwise. So here it is 5.25 kilonewton meter is the moment, right? Next we need to use these values for the further calculations. Okay. Okay. So next I will jump to the step number 5, support reactions and maximum bending moments. Okay. So what I will do, I will consider the span AB, then we will go for the calculation of the support reactions and the bending moment values. Then we will repeat the same procedure for the second span, that is for span BC. Okay. So here let me draw the FBD of span AB. A point, B point, the span is about 4 meter. On this beam we have a UDL of magnitude 5 kilonewtons per meter. Then we have two end moments. One is anti-clockwise 7.38 kilonewton meter and the another one is 5.25 kilonewton meter. So let me call the reaction here as RAB and here as RBA. So we need to calculate how much is the reaction at A, that is RAB, and reaction at B, that is RBA. So if you calculate these two, using these we can draw the shear force and bending moment diagram. So to do that, let me impose the moment condition at A and equating it to 0. If I impose this moment condition, then this 5 kilonewton UDL creates a clockwise moment. So it is 5 into 4 into acting at a distance of 4 by 2. Then we have an anti-clockwise moment, so minus 7.38, plus we have a 5.25 clockwise moment, minus this reacting force is creating an anti-clockwise moment. So RBA into its perpendicular distance is 4, equating the entire equation to 0. Here we will get the value of RBA as 9.46 kilonewton acting vertically upwards, right. So we have got one reacting component. If I impose the another equilibrium condition, we will get one more reacting component, that is RAB. So for that, what I will do, I will impose the vertical condition, that is algebraic sum of vertical forces must be equals to 0. If I impose that here, RAB and RBA, these two are acting vertically upwards, considering them as positive. Then this UDL is acting vertically downwards, considering it as negative. RAB plus RBA minus 5 into 4, equating it to 0. So here, if I substitute the value of RBA, I will get RAB, the RAB as 10.53 kilonewtons acting vertically upwards. So these are the support reactions at A and B, correct? Apart from this, we need to calculate the maximum bending moment in the span. So to calculate maximum bending moment, first we need to know where exactly the maximum bending moment will occur, that is the location. But as the load is UDL in the nature, we cannot say particularly at some location it will occur. So what we need to do, we need to determine that. If it is a point load, then we can say that under the point load the bending moment will be maximum. but here is situation is something different. So here we need to determine the location where the bending moment is maximum first, then we need to calculate how much it is. For that, we have to make use of the shear force diagram. We all know that wherever the shear force is 0, at that location the bending moment will be maximum. So what I will do, so instead of finding the location for the maximum bending moment, we have to find the location where the shear force is 0. So let us say this is a datum line. At point A we have a RAB, a reacting component which is acting vertically upwards. So RAB, it is 10.53 acting vertically upwards. So I will take the line vertically up. So this is 10.53. So after that we have a UDL which is acting vertically downwards. So this is positive and this is negative. 10.53 minus 5 into 4 gives you minus 9.46. We will get a negative value. So negative value means I have to take the line on the other side. Because of UDL, the variation will be linear. So here this value is minus 9.46 kilonewton. At B point we have a reacting force RBA which is acting upwards. So minus 9.46 plus 9.46, it will be 0. So this is positive shear force, this is negative shear force. Here is the point where we can say the shear force is 0. Let us say it is at a distance x. So let me extend this, saying this is point E. So now we know that at point E the shear force is 0. We have to determine that distance. Once we determine that distance, we can say exactly at the same location the bending moment will be maximum. Now if I apply the symmetric triangle concept here, then it will be x by 10.53. This ratio will be equals to, the total distance is 4, so this will be 4 minus x. Okay, so it is 4 minus x divided by 9.46. So from this, if you calculate the x value will be 2.10 meter. 2.10 meter. It means at a distance of 2.1 meter from point A, the shear force is 0 and exactly at the same location bending moment is maximum. Therefore, maximum bending moment at E, ME is equals to, if I calculate bending moment at E by considering the portion on the left side. So left side we have a reacting component RAB which is creating a clockwise moment. RAB, it is 10.53. 10.53 into its perpendicular distance is x. So x is 2.10 minus on the left side we have an anti-clockwise moment. So it is minus 7.38. Then on the left side we have a UDL. On this portion your UDL is acting, which is also creating an anti-clockwise moment. So minus 5 into that distance is 2.10, acting at a distance of 2.10 by 2. So here if I calculate the maximum bending moment, so I will get ME as 3.708 kilonewton meter. So this is the maximum bending moment at E. Right? Okay. So in continuation with that, let me go for the second span. For span BC, so if I draw the free body diagram of span BC, so this is point B, C, and we have a load of magnitude 5 kilonewtons per meter. Apart from this, on the span BC we have two end moments. One is on the left side, negative moment of 5.25 kilonewton meter, and on the other side we have a positive moment of 5 kilonewton meter. The span is 3 meter. Okay, so let me call this as RBC and RCB. Okay, so here again I need to determine the values of RBC and RCB. Then also I need to determine the maximum positive bending moment in the span. For that, let me impose the moment condition. If I impose moment condition about B and equate it to 0, then this UDL, it creates a clockwise moment on the at the point B. So it is 5 into 3 into acting at a distance of 3/2. Then we have a negative moment, that is minus 5.25. So I will write that as it is 5.25. Then we have a clockwise moment on the right side. So it is plus 5 kilonewton. Apart from this, the reaction at C, that is RCB, is creating an anticlockwise moment about C. Okay, so that is minus RCB into its perpendicular distance is 3, equating it to 0. So if I solve this, I will get the value of RCB, that is reaction at C, as 7.42 kilonewton acting vertically upwards. So this is the support reaction at C. Similarly, I need to determine one more support reaction, RBC. So to determine RBC, let me impose the one more equilibrium condition, that is algebraic sum of vertical forces must be equals to 0. So if I impose this equilibrium condition on this free body diagram, then you can see RBC and RCB, these two are acting vertically upwards, whereas this 5 kilonewton UDL, it is acting vertically downwards. So it is RBC plus RCB minus this UDL, that is 5 into 3, equating it to 0. So here in the equation we have two unknowns, one is RBC and another one is RCB. So RCB we have already determined it as 7.42 kilonewton. Substitute that value here, you will get RBC as 7.58 kilonewton, that is also acting vertically upwards, right? So we have got the support reactions. Next is we need to determine the maximum bending moment. To determine the maximum bending moment, we need to locate where the maximum bending moment is occurring first. So for that purpose, I have to make use of the shear force diagram. So let me draw the shear force diagram. So this diagram helps us to locate the position of the maximum bending moment. So that can be done by identifying the position of the zero shear force. So here you can see at B point we have a reacting force RBC, which is acting vertically upwards. So let me draw a line indicating a shear force of 7.58 kilonewton. So soon after this we have a UDL which is spreaded from B to C, which is acting vertically downwards. So it is a positive shear force, 7.58 minus this 5 into 15 gives you minus 7.42. Then the value will be negative, minus 7.42. So as it is negative value, I have to mention on the negative side, okay, somewhere here, 7.42 kilonewton. So at C point we have one more reacting force, that is RCB, which is positive. So minus 7.42 plus 7.42, it will be 0. So because of UDL, the variation is linear. From here I have to take it up till 0. Positive shear force, negative shear force. This is the point where you can say the shear force is 0. So let us mark this point as F in the span BC, right? And let me call this is at a distance x from the point B, and the other distance it will be 3 minus x. Okay. So now here I have to impose the similar triangle concept and determine the value of x. So x is the point where shear force is 0, and also at the same point the bending moment is maximum. So here if I use the symmetric triangle concept, it is x by 7.58. This ratio must be equals to 3 minus x by 7.42. So if you solve this, you will get x as 1.516 meter. So it means at a distance of 1.516 meters from point B, the shear force is 0, and at the same point bending moment is maximum. So let me calculate the bending moment at F, that is F is equals to calculate the bending moment at this, either I need to consider the left portion or the right portion of the beam. If I consider the left portion, okay, so on the left side we have a reacting force RBC, which is creating a clockwise moment about F. So RBC is 7.58 and its perpendicular distance is x. X is 1.516 minus, on the left portion we have a moment 5.25. Apart from that, there is a UDL on the left portion of the beam, so that is also creating an anti-clockwise moment. So minus of 5 into 1.516 into 1.516 by 2 gives you the maximum bending moment about F, which yields to somewhere around 0.495 kilonewton meter, though it is very less, but it is itself is the maximum bending moment. Okay. So apart from this, a small portion, that is a CD portion which is overhanging, okay, that also need to consider into the calculation. So as CD is overhanging portion, there is not much calculation is left. See here, if I consider the span CD, okay, at C we have support, and at D we have a load of magnitude 2.5 kilonewton. So let me call this as RCD. Apart from that, we have a moment of 5 kilonewton meter. This distance is about 2 meter. Okay. So here just we need to determine the support reaction at C, that is RCD. So to do that, just I need to impose the vertical condition. That is enough. If I impose vertical condition, you can see there are two forces which are acting in the vertical direction. One is RCD, which is acting vertically upwards, minus this force is acting vertically downwards, so I am consider it as negative. Hence RCD is equals to 2.5 kilonewtons. This is enough. Okay. So now using these values, we need to draw the shear force and bending moment diagrams. Okay. See here. Right. So what I will do, I will extend these lines so that I can draw the shear force and bending moment diagram very easily. Somewhere here we have the point E, where we have the maximum positive bending moment in the span AB, and similarly somewhere here we have a point F, where we have the maximum positive bending moment in that particular span, right. Now let me consider this as the datum line for the shear force diagram. Okay. So as per our calculations, at A we have a positive reactions RAB, which is acting vertically upwards. So let me take the line vertically upwards. Okay. As it is positive, I have taken it as a vertically up, and its magnitude is about 10.53 kilo newtons. Okay. So after A up to B point we have a UDL which is acting vertically downwards. 10.53 minus this load, that is 10.53 in minus 5 into 4, it gives you a negative value, that is minus 9.46. So as it is negative, I am marking it on the negative side, minus 9.46 kilo Newton, right. Because of UDL, the variation will be linear, and at point B we have a reacting component RBA, which is about plus 9.4. This is minus 9.4 plus 9.4, it is 0. So I have to take this line up to 0 line or datum line. Okay. At B point we have one more reacting component RBC. So as per our calculation, RBC is about 7.58. As it is a positive, I have to take the line vertically up. So indicating this as 7.58 kilo newtons. Soon after this point, till C we have a UDL. So 7.58 minus this UDL, that is 5 into 315, gives you a negative value of minus 7.42. Somewhere here minus 7.42 kilo Newton. As the load is UDL, so variation will be linear. Okay. At C point we have one more reacting components which is acting vertically upwards, so that has to be considered as positive. This is minus 7.4 plus RCB. RCB is plus 7.42. So minus 7.42 plus 7.42, it is 0. Right. Again at C point we have one more reacting component RCD, which is acting vertically upwards. So I have to take the line vertically up. It is 2.5 kilo Newton. From C to D we don't have any loads, so I have to maintain the shear force diagram constant. But at D point we have a force which is acting vertically downwards. So this is plus 2.5, this is minus 2.5, it will be 0. The portion of the diagram which is there above the datum line is a positive shear force, below it is negative shear force. In the similar way, we need to draw the bending moment diagram also. Okay. So to draw the bending moment diagram, what I will do, again I will mention the datum line. Okay. Now see here, to draw the bending diagram for the span BC, I will consider L as the, A as the left side and B is on the right side. Okay. So for this, left side you can see here we have an anticlockwise moment. Okay. So for this anticlockwise moment, I have to mark the point below the line. Okay, here I am going to mark it as below the line, 7.38 kilonewton meter. On the right side again we have clockwise moment. So right side clockwise is again negative, where I have to mark it on the negative side, somewhere here, mentioning it as 5.25. It is 5.25 kilonewton meter, right? But in the span at E point we have a positive bending moment, so that is about 3.70. So that I am going to mention somewhere here, 3.708 kilonewton meter. Because of the UDL, the variation in the bending moment diagram will be parabolic in the nature, right? This is about the span AB. For span BC, so B is on the left side and C is on the right side. Okay. So left side again we have an anticlockwise moment. So left side anticlockwise is negative, which as marked in the diagram. And right side we have a clockwise moment. So right side clockwise is again negative. So that I need to mark it on the negative side. So somewhere here I have to mark it as, so it is just 5 kilonewton meter. But in between this, at point F we have a positive bending moment. So here the positive bending moment is very, very low, that is 0.495 kilonewton meter. So as the load is UDL, the variation will be, again it is parabolic in the nature, right? Now for the CD span, C is on the left side and D is on the right side. Left side we have an anticlockwise moment, so left side anticlockwise is negative. Right side we don't have any moment, so I am going to mark it at the 0 location. So because of this concentrated load, the variation in the bending moment diagram will be linear. Now the portion below the datum line, it is negative, above it is positive. So these are the negative moments, it is positive, this is also negative. So this is bending moment diagram. So this is how we need to draw the shear force and bending moment diagram for a overhanging beams. Okay, right. Thank you.